Dear children, welcome back to the second part of the short story Amigo Brothers by Piri Thomas. Today, we are going to talk about the exciting finals between Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas. We have already seen our heroes parted a week earlier as a part of preparation for the bout. At this point, let's discuss some winning strategies that one should plan or prepare before a competition. Of course, thorough practice is the most important factor. But is that all? No. You need self confidence, winning attitude. You should know your strengths and weaknesses. You should also know the strengths and weaknesses of your opponent. Thus, your preparedness, your readiness all become part of your winning strategy. There is a saying that every battle is won before it is ever fought. Let's see how our amigos prepared themselves for the final bout. The evening before the big fight, Tony made his way to the roof of his building. In the quiet early dark, he peered over the ledge. He tried not to think of Felix, feeling he had succeeded in psyching his mind. But only in the ring would he really know. To spare Felix hurt, he would have to knock him out early and quick. The evening before the big fight, Antonio was spending his time on his apartment's roof. He tried not to think of Felix, his friend, and trained his mind to face a fierce opponent. He had some doubts, but he decides that he will knock out his opponent in the very first round. Thus, he can spare Felix from not getting hurt. Up in the South Bronx, Felix decided to take in a movie in an effort to keep Antonio's face away from his fists. The flick was The Champion with Kirk Douglas. The champion was getting beaten. Felix felt a shock. He saw himself in the ring blasting Antonio against the ropes. He walked up some dark streets, deserted except for small pockets of wary looking kids wearing gang colors. Walking the streets had not relaxed him. Neither had the fight flick. All it had done was to stir him up. He let himself quietly into his Aunt Lucy's apartment and went straight to bed. Felix was equally restless on the evening before the big fight. In order to relax, he decides to watch a movie. The flick was The Champion, where the Hollywood star Kirk Douglas played the lead role as a boxer. Felix imagined himself hitting Antonio hard against the rope. He felt a shock, and the flick only disturbed his thought. He returned to his Aunt Lucy's apartment and went straight to bed. Antonio was passing some heavy time on his rooftop. How would the fight tomorrow affect his relationship with Felix? After all, fighting was like any other profession. friendship had nothing to do with it, but a gnawing doubt crept in. He cut negative thinking really quick by doing some speedy fancy dance steps. Felix, his amigo brother, was not going to be Felix at all in the ring, just an opponent with another face. Antonio went to sleep. Like his friend, he prayed for victory via a quick, clean knockout in the first round. Once again, we see Antonio passing some tough moments on his rooftop. He is much worried whether the match will strain his friendship with Felix. He cut all negative thoughts and takes a professional approach. He knows very well that there is no place for sentiments in a boxing ring. He prays for a victory through quick, clean knockout in the very first round. Large posters plastered all over the walls of local shops announced the fight between Antonio Cruz and Felix Vargas as the main bout. The fight had created great interest in the neighborhood. Antonio and Felix were well liked and respected. Each had his own loyal following. The fight was scheduled to take place in Tompkins Square Park. The morning of the fight, Tompkins Square was a beehive of activity with numerous workers setting up the ring, the seats, and the guest speaker stand. The scheduled bouts began shortly after noon, and the park had begun filling up even earlier. There was so much of excitement regarding this final as the Amigos were popular in that locality. No wonder the people were so thrilled about the final bout. Large posters were plastered all over the walls of the local shops in order to announce that big event. The fan followers and supporters of these boys were eagerly waiting for the D Day, that is 7th of August. The venue was Tompkins Square Park. The members of the boys' club enthusiastically engaged in the elaborate preparations for the grand finals. Many workers setting up the ring, arranging the seats, and the guest speakers stand all made the place busy, a beehive of activity. Crowds of spectators started flowing in the park much before the scheduled final bout. The waiting time was over. Felix was escorted from the classroom by a dozen fans in white t shirts. Antonio was escorted down a different stairwell and guided through a roped off path. As the two climbed into the ring, the crowd exploded with a roar. Antonio and Felix both bowed gracefully and then raised their arms in acknowledgement. Antonio tried to be cool. He turned slowly to meet Felix's eyes, looking directly into his. Felix nodded his head and Antonio responded. Here is the grand entry of the fighters into the ring. Felix comes first, escorted by a dozen fanboys in white t-shirts. Then comes Antonio through another roped-off path. Amid the thunderous applause and cheers, the two finalists climb into the ring. They bend their body, and then raise their arms as a mark of respect to acknowledge the loud cheers of the crowd. Remember, our amigos have not seen each other for the last 1 week, and now they face each other as heavy strangers.
Bong, bong, bong. The roar turned to stillness. Ladies and gentlemen, the announcer spoke slowly. Now is the moment we have all been waiting for. The main event between two fine young Puerto Rican fighters. In this corner, weighing 134 pounds, Felix Vargas. And in this corner, weighing 133 pounds, Antonio Cruz. The winner will represent the boys' club in the Tournament of Champions, the Golden Gloves. There will be no draw. May the best man win.
The bell rings and the roar of the crowd turn to stillness. Everyone anxiously listens to the announcement. The announcer addresses the audience as ladies and gentlemen and then speaks about the details of the event conducted by the boys' club. Then he introduces the fighters to the audience.
So here is the final between two young Puerto Rican fighters in the lightweight category. Felix Vargas weighing 134 pounds and Antonio Cruz weighing 133 pounds. There will be only 3 rounds in this finals of amateur boxing and there will not be any draws. The winner will represent the Golden Gloves Championship. He concludes by wishing good luck to the fighters. The cheering of the crowd shook the window panes of the old buildings surrounding Tompkins Square Park. At the center of the ring, the referee was giving instructions to the youngsters. Keep your punches up. No low blows. No punching on the back of the head. Keep your heads up. Understand? Let's have a clean fight. Now shake hands and come out fighting. Both the youngsters touched gloves and nodded. They turned and danced quickly to their corners. The cheering and the yelling of the crowd become incredibly loud. It denotes how the spectators are closely related to the fighters. At the center of the ring, the referee gives instructions to the youngsters regarding the match. The amigos touch their gloves as part of custom. Bong bong, round 1. Felix and Antonio turned and faced each other squarely in a fighting pose. Felix wasted no time. He came in fast, head low, half hunched towards his right shoulder, and lashed out with a straight left. He missed a right cross as Antonio slipped the punch and countered with 3 lefts that snapped Felix's head back, sending a mild shock coursing through him. If Felix had any small doubt about their friendship affecting their fight, it was being neatly dispelled. Antonio's left hand was like a piston, pumping jabs one right after another with seeming ease. Felix bobbed and weaved and never stopped boring in. He knew that at long range he was at a disadvantage. Antonio had too much reach on him. Only by coming in close could Felix hope to achieve the dreamed of knockout. Antonio knew the dynamite that was stored in his Amigo brother's fist. He ducked a short right and missed a left hook. Felix trapped him against the ropes just long enough to pour some punishing rights and lefts to Antonio's hard midsection. Antonio slipped away from Felix, crashing two lefts to his head, which set Felix's right ear ringing. Felix walked briskly back to his corner. Antonio gracefully danced his way towards his stool.
The ringing of the bell announced the beginning of the first round. The amigos come close and face each other in a fighting position. Felix starts the fight with a defensive head low position and lashes out a straight left punch. Antonio skillfully slips that and counters with three heavy blows on Felix's head. It was a clear indication that their friendship is not going to affect the fight.
In the very first round, we can see that both the boys have different fighting styles. Antonio's lean form and long reach made him a better boxer and fierce attacker. Felix's short and muscular frame made him a defender and slugger, a person who gives heavy blows with dynamite stored in his fist.
Felix traps Antonio against the rope to pour some heavy blows. Once again, Antonio skillfully slips away and gives two crashing left punches to his head, which set Felix's right ear ringing. This was indeed an unexpected blow. The bell rings, and Antonio happily dances his way to the stool and clearly in an advantageous position.
Bong bong. Round 2. Felix was off his stool and rushed to Antonio like a bull, sending a hard right to his head. Antonio, hurt, sent back a blurring barrage of lefts and rights that only meant to pain Felix. Felix bobbed and weaved, occasionally punching his two gloves together. Antonio waited for the rush that was sure to come. Felix closed in and feinted with his left shoulder and threw a right instead. Rights to the body, lefts to the head. Neither fighter was giving an inch. Suddenly, a short right caught Antonio squarely on the chin. His long legs turned to jelly and his arms flailed out desperately. Felix, grunting like a bull, threw wild punches from every direction. Antonio, groggy, bobbed and weaved, evading most of the blows. Suddenly, his head cleared. His left flashed out hard and straight, catching Felix on the bridge of his nose. In a fog, Felix heard the roaring of the crowd, who seemed to have gone insane. His head cleared to hear the bell sound at the end of the round. His trainer sat him down on the stool. In his corner, Antonio was doing what all fighters do when they are hurt. They sit and smile at everyone.
Felix made up his mind in the second round and rushes to Antonio like a bull and gives him a hard right punch to his head. Antonio, clearly hurt, but counters with punishing lefts and rights. Felix bobbed and weaved and avoided most of the punches. Antonio anticipated a fierce fight from Felix. Felix made a false move with his left shoulder and then gave a hard right punch. Neither the fighter was giving an inch.
Suddenly, Antonio received a hard blow on the chin and his arms failed desperately to stop Felix. Felix made use of the chance and gives wild punches from all directions. Antonio evades the blows and manages to hit hard on the bridge of Felix's nose.
The crowd has gone mad at the fierce fight and cheered violently. As the bell rings, Antonio, hurt, moves to his corner and sits in his stool. He smiles at his supporters, reassuring that he can fight and win in the third round.
The referee signaled the ring doctor to check the fighters out. He did so and then gave his okay. The cold water sponges brought clarity to both Amigo brothers. They were rubbed until their circulation ran free. Bong, round three, the final round. Up to now, it had been tic tac toe, pretty much even. But everyone knew there could be no draw and that this round would decide the winner.
After the two rounds, the referee calls the ring doctor to check the fighters and to give an okay note before the third round. Cold water sponges were used to wipe out the sweat and blood of fighters. The trainers rubbed the fighters and prepared them for the decisive final round.
This time, to Felix's surprise, it was Antonio who came out fast, charging across the ring. Felix braced himself but couldn't ward off the barrage of punches. Felix tapped his gloves and commenced his attack anew. Antonio, throwing box's caution to the winds, jumped in to meet him. Both pounded away. Neither gave an inch and neither fell to the canvas. They fought toe to toe. The sounds of their blows were loud in contrast to the silence of a crowd gone completely mute. The referee was stunned by their savagery.
Unlike the other two rounds, this time it is Antonio who comes forward with a barrage of punches. Felix too starts his fresh attack. Both the fighters were ready to take any risk and utilized every possible chance for the final victory.
They fought toe to toe, came face to face with each other with terrible blows. The audience was holding their breath to watch the final moments of the match. The noise of the loud blows filled the atmosphere. Everyone was stunned and shocked by their brutal attack. Bong, bong, bong. The bell sounded over and over again. Felix and Antonio were past hearing. Their blows continued to pound on each other like hailstones. Finally, the referee and the two trainers pried Felix and Antonio apart. Cold water was poured over them to bring them back to their senses. They looked around and then rushed towards each other. A cry of alarm surged through Tompkins Square Park. Was this a fight to the death instead of a boxing match? The fear soon gave way to a wave upon wave of cheering as the two amigos embraced. No matter what the decision, they knew they would always be champions to each other.
The fierce fighting continued even after the final bell. The fighters gave heavy blows to each other like hailstones. Finally, they were pulled apart by the referee and their trainers. Cold water was poured over their heads to bring them back to normal sense.
Once they regained their consciousness, the boys looked around and then rushed towards each other. The audience was horrified and wondered whether it was a fight till death rather than a match. But the fear was gone as the amigos hugged each other.
The audience relieved to see the amigos hugging each other. The invisible wall which separated them for a week has been crushed and destroyed. They fought passionately and now consider each other as champions. They upholded the true spirit of sportsmanship.
Bong, bong, bong. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner and representative to the Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions is. The announcer turned to point to the winner and found himself alone. Arm in arm, the champions had already left the ring.
Now it's time to announce the winner and representative to the Golden Gloves tournament. The announcer looked around to point to the winner but found himself alone. The champions have already left the ring hand in hand. The audience applauded and cheered for the Amigo brothers. The friendship exhibited by the teenagers is exemplary and laudable. Their decision to leave the boxing arena very well conveys the author's point of view about friendship. Throughout the story, we see their stress and concern for maintaining their friendship. We also see them haunted before the night of the big fight. Children, Amigo brothers prove that friendship lasts even after a fierce combat. And true friendship can overcome even the most difficult obstacle. Thank you.
You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh.